I'm Shrishti Saha for MPSF Sports, and joining me today is the women's beach volleyball head coach at University of Washington, Derek Olson. 4 years in, and Olson has led Washington's beach volleyball to his first AVCA All-America honors in 2023 and set a program record with 21 wins, achieving a top 15 national ranking last season. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Coach, you've already made significant strides with the beach volleyball program, but you've also experienced success at other institutions. How do you envision the culture that you've built evolving in this coming season?
Yeah, I think this year we've really paid attention to it and emphasized culture above anything else. This era with the transfer portal and a lot of athletes just transitioning to different schools. I don't want to lose sight of that. And so we have a lot of new pieces this year. And so in some respects, it's maybe a rebuild, but an opportunity for us to reestablish the culture that we want here.
And has the transfer portal affected you guys significantly, or is it just
Yeah, we've had to rely on it ever since I got here,
mm,
just because we didn't have a big roster at all. Last year we lost a couple, which was the first time, I've had to deal with that. Um, and I think going forward, it's probably something that's going to be um, a part of every season, whether athletes are coming or going. So, we definitely have to play the transfer portal game, and it has its unique challenges, but opportunities as well.
you mentioned having to deal with losing players for the first time. What was that like? How do you come back from that?
Yeah, coping is a good word because you go through a lot of emotions. But yeah, I mean, it's just the reality of, today's environment that we're in. So you have to adapt and you have to evolve and things have to probably change and so just figuring that out and figuring out, how to best sell University of Washington and what we're doing here, I think is a key exercise, but it's just the reality. And if you're too caught up in the emotions of it, then I think you're not going to be at your best when you need to be. So yeah, we're dealing with it, we're figuring it out, but that's just the current environment for you.
So beach volleyball is known for its intimate team dynamics. Communication and trust are essential. We've already talked about culture, but how do you foster a culture of accountability and leadership within a program where you often rely on others for success, both off and on the set?
Yeah, we've always been a team and a culture of self-organization. So I don't have captains on this team. I think anybody and everybody should lead in their own way, and it has to be authentic. It also has to be earned. So first and foremost, that's a big part of what we do is everybody playing a role, finding that role, and adding value to our culture. I really, I really don't want people that are just kind of neutral. I want everybody to add value in whatever capacity feels best to them. But yeah, I mean, we emphasize that a lot. It's a process, and again, going back to having new pieces on the team every year, it makes it a unique challenge every single year, having to reestablish that identity and that culture. But that's kind of what I love about this job, to be honest.
You've had additions to your roster this season with players like Taylor Allen and Jade Sadiko. How have their previous collegiate experiences influenced the team's dynamic and play style?
I think they came in with a certain level of maturity that I think is been really important for us. I mean, Yade is on her third school now and been a part of a lot of different teams and the dynamics of teams. And so she's come in and really been a huge add for us, just being mature. And then same thing with Taylor. I mean, she's on her second school, but she's experienced a lot and kind of knows what it takes to be in a program at this level and to succeed. So I think both of them have really excelled in this environment, even as first year players in our program. They've really hit the ground running from the beginning. Um, so so yeah, I mean, I'm sure they've using their past experience in a lot of different scenarios, but I just think that they are just awesome people and they're going to thrive in probably most environments.
What's an unconventional or unexpected lesson that you learned from your time coaching that you believe has made a long-lasting impact on how you lead the team? Apologies.
Yeah. I mean, not to beat the same drum, but the transfer portal, I mean, that's something that I never would have envisioned 4 years ago, just being so prevalent because we went from knowing exactly the team that we would have years in advance and preparing for it and knowing what we needed at all times to, having the season end and all of a sudden it's recruiting season all over again and you're trying to field most of your roster for next year. So I mean that was a new experience for me this last year and it's really made me have to like reflect on what is the most important thing in all this and what are the key competencies and characteristics that I want in recruits. Who do I want in the program and what are we about here? So yeah, I mean I'd say that's the major one for sure for us and in all of my 8 years now at this level.
Amazing. When you look at the growth of the program, what's something that might not be visible to fans, or audiences that you feel is crucial to the team's long-term success?
Um, I think that we have a lot of obstacles up here playing beach volleyball in Seattle, Washington. Some are obvious, some are maybe less obvious, but I think with any obstacle or challenge, there's a unique opportunity on the back end of that to be more resilient. We call it gritty, being gritty up here. Um, and really just develop in unique ways. And so we have, I think, a lot of unique challenges, but I think if you can get through it as an athlete and embrace it and lean into it a little bit, I think it's actually a huge advantage to us. So I think people don't realize like how hard it can be up here for sure. So we're not in 70 degrees sunny Southern California practicing and competing every day. Um, Maybe we get a few of those days in season, but I mean it's a lot colder than that. So you got to be resilient, and if you can learn to be resilient, that's going to carry you over in every facet of life.
Last question. Though your team faced some losses this past weekend, how do you plan on regrouping and building on those experiences as you prepare for the upcoming invitational where you're playing against Long Beach and other universities?
Yeah, I mean the whole goal has always been to just continually get better, and that's not linear. You're going to have your ups and downs throughout the course of the season, and if you are only looking at a constant moment in time, you're either thinking you're better than you are or you're worse than you are. And you really have to reflect at the end of the season back on the entire season. And hopefully, we've got 3 more weeks of season where we get to show what we are made of and show the improvement that hopefully we've been obtaining throughout the course of the year. But it's this last weekend we played for the best teams in the country, and my message to the team this last weekend was, um, on their best day, they're probably better than us, but nobody can maintain their best day throughout the course of the season, and that if we're going to beat a team like Stanford or USC, we have to be available and ready when that opportunity comes. And so you never know when that door, cracks open for you, but you just got to be ready to barge through it. And so you can maintain the consistent preparation and being available mentally, physically, and staying ready, like that opportunity will come. You never know when it comes, but you don't want it to pass you by either because it might just be one shot. So the message from here on out, and as we stay home this weekend and compete against a really good Long Beach team and an FIU team that beat us earlier in the year, the message stays the same. It's, let's work each and every day to get better. And if that door cracks open, like we got to be ready to go through it. So we'll see. That's the message, but like we've got to take it to heart a little bit too. So yeah, 3 more weeks to prove ourselves.
Thank you. We've been talking to Derek Olson, head coach of the women's beach volleyball team. Next, as mentioned, they're playing at home against Long Beach State, Oregon on Friday, April 11th, and then followed by matches against Florida International and Oregon again on Saturday, April 12th. Coach, thank you so much for joining me today. It was wonderful talking to you. Best of luck with your busy weekend. We look forward to following along. For MPSF Sports, I'm Shrishti Saha.